We will now show you the basic construction process of the Bankyo floor system. First, prepare the area. Inspect the slabs. Sweep off any dirt with a broom. Check you have all the materials. Do the pedestals match the floor height? Do you have all the floor panels? Check the site against the diagram. Check the location and fitting of underfloor pipes and the direction of flooring. Check the standard markings. Referring to the diagram, check that wall partitions, floor reinforcement points, and floor openings are clearly marked. You may need to mark the system joists. Lay the panels down from the wall outwards. The wall supports the panel through the joist. In tatami mat or low-floored rooms, begin from the lowest point. Reinforce corners with joist or pedestal. Peel off the S packing sticker and affix it to the side of the joist bolt. Place the joist against the wall temporarily and adjust the level with a screwdriver. Then use the S packing sticker on the joist to secure it to the wall. After securing, tweak the overall level. Squeeze in the adhesive to secure the bolt stopper to the slab. If the joists are already attached to the panel, match the joist bolt location and make a hole approximately 15 millimeters wide for level adjustment. Attach to the floor panel using screw nails or screws. Note the layout of the floor panels when placing the joists. The joist seams should not match the floor panel joints. Leave a distance of at least 30 millimeters between the joists. The space between each joist seam should be 5 millimeters to 300 millimeters. To improve soundproofing capacity, anti-vibration joists are now standard. Their installation is the same. Each time you lay down a panel, check for warpage. If present, place the convex side upwards. The allowed warpage is 1,820 millimeters by 3 millimeters or less when the panel is viewed standing. If it is over 3 millimeters, cut the panel. Lay out the panels like bricks following the plan. The first row starts with a full panel, the second row with a half. If the filler panels are 200 millimeters or less, shorten the previous panel slightly so it stays over 200 millimeters. Adjustments are needed for both length and width. Rotate the pedestal base to adjust the height. Stick it to the floor panel and lay the panel down. The gap between each pedestal is 459 millimeters long. Use one hand to keep the pedestal and panel together to avoid a gap forming. Use a level gauge to set the level, so the final adjustment is easy. If the pedestals are tilted, the floor will squeak. Leave a space approximately 15 millimeters wide between each floor panel. Use a gap gauge for speed and accuracy. If using YPE 60 or other A-type pedestals, make sure the metal part does not touch the panel. If the nut and panel touch, the floor will squeak. Make sure you also avoid touching the metal part when securing the panel with screw nails or screws. If not using plywood under the wall partitions, insert a WP-type pedestal. If using plywood, use an NP-type pedestal with anti-vibration rubber. Either way, the center line of the wall partition and pedestal should be less than 100 millimeters. Make holes in the floor panel for pedestal height adjustment where the wall partitions will be. The gap between the pedestals here should be 308 millimeters or less across the short side, and 459 millimeters or less across the long side. For existing walls, use joists on both sides of the partition. Gap between partition and panel. Leave a gap of 5 millimeters to 15 millimeters. If leaving an opening for underground storage, reinforcement pedestals or joists are needed. Reinforcement pedestals must be put in the corners of joints and openings. If the gap between the pedestals is more than 459 millimeters, add an extra pedestal in the middle. If there are underfloor pipes, leave a distance of at least 20 millimeters between the panel. If the pipe touches the panel, the floor will squeak. After laying down 2 rows, secure the panel. Insert a screw nail or screw from above. Secure the pedestal and panels. Distribute weight evenly over the pedestal. If using screw fasteners, apply them to the pedestal during the panel laying phase. See the diagram for the placement of screw nails and screws. Please note each insertion point differs. Make final adjustments to the panel length level. Lay leveling lines every 3 rows. Measure the level using a spacer made from a piece of the panel. Sandwich the spacer in between. Place another spacer between the line and panel. Adjust the height so the spacer and line touch slightly. Adjust the level of the panel along the short side. Half a panel acts as a ruler. Adjust to remove gaps between the ruler and panel. Do not apply weight to the pedestal you are adjusting. For lasers, use a carpenter's square to adjust the pedestal height. When you have finished, walk over the entire floor. Ensure there are no floating pedestals. If a point in the floor feels softer, a pedestal is likely floating. Turn the height adjustment bolt until the pedestal reaches the slab. Use a level gauge to maintain the floor level. After inspecting the floor level, squeeze adhesive into each of the pedestal bolts. This will secure the pedestal with the bolt and the slab with the pedestal. If the bolt is protruding, cut the end of the adhesive nozzle and push the nozzle into the top of the bolt. The amount of adhesive depends on the pedestal height. It will take 1 to 2 days for the adhesive to dry. Until then, refrain from placing heavy objects or walking on the floor. After applying the adhesive, stick gum tape over all the joints. This is to prevent rubbish or dirt from entering. When finished, perform a self-check using the checklist. Now to install Bankyo Echo Board TG. Clean the surface of the floor panel. If scraps fall between the panel and Bankyo Echo Board TG, it will squeak, so clean it properly. Lay out the Bankyo Echo Board TG. The board can be parallel or perpendicular to the panels, but follow these rules for both length and width. The board joints should be shifted 100 mm or more from the panel joints. Leave a gap of 5 mm to 15 mm between the wall. The width must be more than 200 mm. Leave 3 mm or less between each board. Secure the Bankyo Echo Board TG. Use the custom-made nail. Other types may pierce the panel and cause damage to pipes. Leave a gap of 300 mm both ways between each nail. Now to install stone-finished underfloor system. Generally, wood flooring or carpet is used for finishing, but tiles and stones have also been used increasingly. Add an extra pedestal to the joint on the short side of the floor panel. On the floor panel, lay out Bankyo Echo Board TG and then plywood on the top. Lay out Bankyo Echo Board TG and plywood in different directions. The joints of the second plywood should be shifted 100 mm or more from the joints of the first layer. Lay out tile stones on the plywood and apply joint sealer. Use the joint sealer for dry double floor, designated by the manufacturer. We will now explain how to construct multi-level floors using the floor preceding method. Multi-level floors are needed when partitioning rooms or installing a heated floor. secure the raised panel to the pedestal with screws in advance. Use both screws and adhesive to secure the packing and panel. We will now explain how to install the filled insulation type. Attach the metal bracket to the platform and pedestal. Place a thermal insulator on the metal bracket and secure it by gently pressing. Adjust the pedestal height to the platform height beforehand for smooth operation. Lay down the floor panel on the thermal insulator. Leave a 5 mm space between the pillar and panel, and a 15 mm space between each panel. After laying down the first row, secure the panel using the custom-made screws. Using a level gauge, adjust the level with the screw on the top of the pedestal. Install the thermal insulator for the second row in the same way as the first row. For the second row, use panels cut to 1/3 or 2/3 of the panels for the first row, and lay them out like bricks. For the third row onwards, repeat the same procedure. The floating check adhesive application and joint protection are the same as the floor panel installation. How did it go? If installed properly, Bankyo floor system will give you maximum performance. Stable, quality workmanship is Bankyo floor system's mission.